Back at the Garen base camp, Airen sits by himself thinking about his last conversation with Kuril. According to her, Ruru was seen at the Pereira estate but suddenly disappeared one day and hasn't been seen since. Sensing that his younger sister still has a bit of animosity towards Ruru, Airen tells her not to blame the cat or anyone else for what happened to him and asks that she exercise a bit of kindness towards the sorcerer kitty, and Kuril said she will try. Listening to Airen talk, he really belongs to the League of Good Boys along with Tanjiro for his kindness. But back to the present, Airen made it to the expedition, much to the chagrin of many, especially the snot-nosed brat from the Lesters as well as Martin, as the two exchanged rumors about what they heard about Airen in the last 5 years, such as the Pereira family using his being stuck in sorcery as an excuse for Airen to laze around in bed all day. And how was he allowed to join the expedition when he doesn't have any experience with monster expeditions? As if these brats had any experiences too. Meanwhile, Ryan quietly polishes his sword, listening to the two gossip about Airen. In his mind, he's pretty glad that the once lazy lord joined in on the expedition so he could exact his revenge for humiliating him years ago. Well, I guess Ryan's not aware of Confucius's famous quote about revenge. Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. Back to the sore losers at hand. Martin's actually surprised that Kevin, or Caesar, we really don't know which Lester brat this is, joined the expedition. To this, Kevin, or Caesar, said that it's because of the demon's recent appearance. The Twilight Knight's order, magicians, and priests were dispatched by the capital. What's more, Sir Hill Burnett, the vice-captain of the said order, will be leading the expedition. So basically, the brat's only in it for the honor in this expedition. And as if on cue, Sir Hill Burnett did appear right behind Kevin, as Martin tried to shut him up. So it was the Kevin brat from the Lester family after all. Hearing what Kevin said, Sir Hill said in a very intimidating tone that they should not take part in this expedition. His physique, which looks similar to a ferocious mountain cat / a bulked-up Rob Lucci in armor, was enough to scare the nobles present there. Sir Hill further added that he's bent on defeating the demon only with the help of the forces he brought with him, but Viscount Phil Garen was the first to complain about the knight's sudden decision. Just as he was about to complain more, Sir Hill stepped forward and emitted a powerful ki, affecting everyone within his area with heaviness. And while doing this, he also gave a lecture about how demons are in a completely different league from monsters. And yet these southern nobles take this piece of information lightly. Well, it's about time someone told these nobles that this isn't a child's game. Turning his back on Phil Garen, Sir Hill also added that only he and the forces he commands are armed with strong religious faith and fiery loyalty to the nation, which is reason enough to slay the demon. But him being forced to accomplish the mission with nobles who only have honor in their minds, not to mention the fact that they prioritize that over the peace and welfare of the kingdom, Sir Hill flat out says he's reluctant to do so. While saying this, the vice-captain semi-shifted to his beast form for a moment before lowering his ki. Everyone was left catching their breaths except for Airen, who's pretty chill about all this. Our MC's OP now after all, but he was soon surprised to see Ryan kneel before Sir Hill. Once again, Sir Hill emitted his ki, pressuring Ryan, but the latter was bent on making a good impression on the esteemed knight. First, the eldest Garen apologized for his flimsy reason for joining the expedition and promised to do the vice-captain's orders throughout the whole ordeal. Hearing his pledge, Sir Hill smirked and released Ryan from the pressure and started to laugh. The black-haired knight also apologized, saying his jokes went too far and that he's not someone who can turn down their wishes to join the expedition. However, he did stress the importance to stay vigilant against the demon, telling them to rest well as he took his leave. That night, Sir Hill sat in his tent assessing the list of nobles who joined the expedition, and out of all of them, the only one he deemed strong was Ryan Garen. Soon enough, a visitor came knocking that broke him out of his reverie, and it was none other than the wandering knight of the Gavera Kingdom, Sir Tom Miller. As the two men caught up laughing with their stories, Sir Hill couldn't help but point out that maybe his visitor was a little too harsh on his disciple. Besides, his disciple was part of the 27th generation trainees of Krono's Swordsmanship Academy, also known as the Golden Generation. But Sir Tom Miller was quick to point out that his disciple never made it to the official roster of trainees anyway, and is a far cry from the talents of Ilya Lindsay. And it turns out that after leaving the academy, Ilya went out and became an honorary knight of the Moonlight Knights Order, the greatest in the Aden Kingdom. Are we even surprised by her accomplishments at this point? Hearing this, the vice-captain thought at least they have a genius, one that's comparable to the Egnet too, and wish they have one in the Hale Kingdom. Spoiler alert, they do have one, just staying low-key at the moment. And this is where Tom Miller pointed out that the Hail Kingdom has one, a genius swordsman on par with Ilya. Sir Hill thought he was just joking, but Sir Tom insisted that they do. According to what his disciple shared, this other genius came in a close second to Ilya during the final evaluation. Furthermore, this disciple of Sir Miller said that what he witnessed during a trainee's show of power at the final evaluation was truly shocking. Nani? This is the first time Sir Hill ever heard of this. Just as Sir Hill was getting pumped up, thinking if this genius was still a trainee at Krono, Sir Tom said that he left the academy shortly after that. But since he's from the Hail Kingdom, the Wandering Knight said that this genius must have joined the expedition. Upon hearing this, Sir Hill couldn't help but feel rattled. He must know who this genius is. And finally, Sir Tom revealed it. His name is Irene Pereira. Finally, our MC is getting the recognition he deserves. The next morning, the expedition finally commenced, and after scouring the region, Sir Hill decided that they'll take a short break. While the other knights were resting, Ryan and Kevin were practicing their swordsmanship. One of the knights pointed out that Ryan was pretty skilled, but the other only said that they're just showing off. Well, if you want to talk about skill, we know a certain blonde gentleman with skills. Seeing that his son is gaining a lot of attention for his skills, Phil Garen couldn't help but be happy, especially since their family has been lagging heavily behind the Pereiras. He thinks that if Ryan could pull this off, then their family's honor and status will return to power. So Ryan needs to be well-liked by Sir Hill at all costs. Lo and behold, Sir Hill stood up, walking toward Ryan. Now Phil Garen is even happier, thinking that he must want to coach Ryan. Even Ryan's aware that Sir Hill is approaching. He's pretty confident and was about to demonstrate fancier skills when the vice captain walked past him. The vice captain went straight to his sitting Irene Pereira. Seeing that he's approached by his superior, Airen stood up as well, though he falls a head shorter than the black-haired official. For a moment, the vice captain only stared at Airen as he remembered the previous conversation he had about another knight regarding who our MC is and how he was stuck in a certain place due to sorcery for the last 5 years. But what's with him? Sir Hill thought and wondered why Airen would leave Krono. And then there's this sorcery he kept hearing about. Does it have to do with Airen's younger sister? But doesn't matter. Now Sir Hill is face to face with Airen, and told our MC to call him commander now since he's leading the expedition. He then straight up asked Airen why he wasn't practicing swordsmanship like the others and is resting. To this, our MC just said that in his current state, Airen doesn't think that it won't count as effort if he trained now. Puzzled by his answer, Sir Hill asked him why, and Airen simply answered that his heart was not in it. Upon hearing this, Kevin scoffed in his answer, but Ryan silenced him, while on the other hand, Sir Hill only asked Airen to elaborate. To this, Airen explained that the reason he joined the expedition in the first place is to slay the demon as well as to increase the Pereira family's honor. What's more, he's also thinking of ways to have an active role in the raid, but since it's his first rodeo, he thought that there are other areas he should focus on to hone his skills other than sword fighting. He wrapped it up by saying that effort is made when one puts their whole heart into their axe, and to train swordsmanship when his heart is not in the right place is useless. The vice captain was silent, but there was no time to talk further since another knight signaled that it was time for them to go. Because of this, Sir Hill directed them to get back in formation while he told Airen to be at his side as he plans to talk more about our MC. That's 1 point for our boy, Airen, and 0 for Ryan. Seeing that Airen has one-upped him again, Ryan grits his teeth in anger, but his father was quick to remind him to be patient and wait for his chance. Or they could just make a chance for him. To which the two conniving men agreed upon. So, back to Airen. Sir Hill was amazed to discover that Airen is already equipped with his sword, thanks to his awakening sorcery. Now, our MC further explains the things he prioritizes over swordsmanship training at the moment. First is the fact that he's never killed anyone or anything before, so he's preparing himself for the shock and confusion after his first kill. Second, he kept in mind that he should stay in line and not behave unpredictably, since it was one of the most dangerous things he could do on this expedition. Lastly, Airen also aims to stay vigilant because of the demonic energy that surrounds the monsters and their underling. That being said, he's putting his focus on staying alert, detecting the energy, and warning the others ASAP. Sir Hill couldn't help but let out a laugh after hearing Airen's priorities. This guy's a lot more practical than he thought, and our MC seems to be pleased with this idea. Sir Hill assured him that he shouldn't get too worked up about this and that he should leave it to the veterans. Besides, they got priests that could detect demonic energy, assuring Airen that he didn't need to worry too much. But Sir Hill didn't get to finish his sentence. Airen was already looking the other way with laser focus, and just as Sir Hill was about to ask what he was looking at, a gigantic demon, tall as a mountain, appeared out of the blue, and then they heard it, stomping sounds of other monsters coming in. Finally, some exciting action. Sir Hill was quick to command orders, telling the knights to get in formation while the 6 houses stayed back and focus on protecting the priests. The creatures started pouring in at their 9 o'clock, and while the vice-captain commanded them to counterattack, he was about to go up against the giant when a blur of clothing zoomed past him. With a running start, Airen dashed in front of the monster, sword already in hand as the demon roared angrily. But in one fell swoop, Airen went and slashed the being, its dark blood spewing everywhere as Sir Hill stood in shock at Airen's actions. Finally, our MC's shining moment. To say that everybody was shocked at what Airen did would be an understatement, since they've all got gaping mouths, seeing how our MC just slashed a hulking mass of ogre partially in half, the size of a mountain. It's like watching Levi go ham and slay the titans. His father stood in horror and shock as Airen went toe-to-toe with the demon, of which the latter has already regenerated the damage it took from Airen's blow. With Airen still in the air and just about to land, the demon smashed the ground he landed on with its fist buried in the ground. It was still seething, hissing, and looking if it managed to kill Airen. But once again, Airen pulls another Levi move and runs up to this giant's arm before leaping into the air and slicing its arm off. The giant let out a loud cry as Airen landed with its hand still stuck on his sword and in blind anger. The demon was about to attack Airen with his back turned, but our hero was already ready. With swift moves, he unleashed a barrage of swings and a big slash that made the giant fall to the ground. But no, it wasn't finished yet. The demon let out another roar as it meant to eat Airen as a whole. Sir Hill shouted from behind, telling Airen to get away, but our MC only changed his stance, gusts of wind starting to build up around him. And just as quickly, Airen unleashed a wind technique similar to the Sword of the Sky, once again leaving everyone shocked at his prowess. The wind continued to blow strongly as everyone's eyes were glued to what was happening. With the ground shaking, trees swaying, and the dust finally setting in, they were shocked to see that Airen blew the giant to smithereens, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Airen stood silently, finished with the task of slaying the giant as it finally dawned on Sir Hill. Looking at Airen, what Sir Tom said was true. The Hail Kingdom's marvel is here. But before he could admire Airen's work, he quickly urged the others to slay the remaining enemies to seal their victory. Soon enough, everyone managed to slay the remaining creatures, and fortunately for them, there were no injuries or casualties. Seeing that everybody was okay, the vice-captain commanded that the expedition will continue. Meanwhile, Airen was contemplating hard on why he acted as such. It was the first time he felt so much rage that he acted upon his emotions. But why did he feel so much anger toward the demon in the first place? It was as if he was a different person back then. However, Airen's train of thought got interrupted when the vice-captain approached him and confronted him about his actions. Finally realizing just what he did, our MC quickly apologized for his brash behavior, especially since he said earlier that he shouldn't behave unpredictably in the first place, but Sir Hill only let out a laugh, seeing how our MC couldn't take a joke. He reminded Airen that they're on an expedition, and at the end of the day, what matters most is slaying the monsters and demons. Because of what Airen did, they were able to avoid casualties and injuries, so the vice-captain congratulated our MC for a job well done on his first combat. Furthermore, Sir Hill also said that he looks forward to Airen's future contribution, which made Airen hold his head up. Just then, Irene Pereira came running towards our hero, asking if he was alright and suddenly hugging him tightly. Teary-eyed, the Pereira patriarch told Airen how proud he is of him, and our hero can only return the hug, pleased at hearing these words come from his father. Calling the attention of Jing freaks, you could have done this to Gon too. While everybody's in celebratory spirits because of their first win, Ryan is already shaking with rage, calling the attention of Sir Jack and asking if he's got the thing ready. The Mag of the Garen family affirmed while Ryan told him to do it now. What the heck is this sore loser up to now? Continuing with the expedition, Airen is conversing with the vice-captain and showing the artifact given to him by Kuril and Skina that could detect demonic energies. Sir Hill was admiring the pendant, thinking how incredible this object is that it could detect demonic energy faster than the priest's divine objects. As if to prove a point, Airen's pendant started to glow and pointed to the left, signaling a swarm of demons approaching. Upon hearing this, Sir Hill commanded his spearmen to move to the left and stand by for battle, and just as quickly, the demons appeared. Since they were already prepared, it didn't take them long to subdue the beings, and from there, Sir Hill told Airen that he will now rely on Airen's pendant when detecting demons and to make sure to inform him ASAP as soon as it detects them. And that's another point for the Pereiras and none for the Garens. Speaking of the Garens, who were watching the two, were pissed off at this development, especially Ryan, but then again they can't do anything fairly, especially in broad daylight. Soon, the sun set, and they decided to camp out for the night. Some knights were talking about Airen and how he's so skilled for a 21-year-old. He must be at least an expert level by now. They thought, especially since he slayed the gigantic demon earlier in the day. But which made them wonder once again, where was he hiding all this time? Meanwhile, Airen sits by himself and was about to eat a spoonful of his food when the artifact started to glisten, its tip already starting to blacken. Seeing this, Airen remembered what Kurl told him, how the pendant can detect and detoxify any poison, and that he just needs to wait for it to return to its original color. As he waits for the poison to be sucked out of his food, Airen glimpses over the group of Ryan, Martin, and Kevin, thinking that someone is after him and is most likely one of the three houses. Our hero deduced that it was most likely the Garens and decided to keep this information to himself since he doesn't want to worry his father. Besides, as long as he can handle it alone, it's fine for him. As the artifact finished detoxifying his food, that's when Airen noticed that a piece of paper was stuck underneath his bowl, warning him that his food was poisoned. The writing's pretty crooked, which made him think if it was deliberate or if it was just written in a hurry. But Airen just thought how he never expected that someone will help him out. Meanwhile, Sir Jack was standing a few feet away from Airen, hiding behind the bushes as he watched our hero slurp his food. And just as quickly, he walked away silently, thinking he couldn't do this anymore. As Airen finished his dinner, Sir Hill approached him once again, asking for a duel. Our hero was surprised, but the commander only said that since they'll be taking on the demon later on, it's important for him to assess the full extent of Airen's power, so our hero was quick to oblige. As the two men stood face to face from a distance, most of the knights gathered around to see them clash. Sir Hill was the first to unsheath his sword and told Airen to do so as well, from which Airen quickly conjured his Dragon Slayer-like sword out of thin air, much to the shock of some knights. But the focus is now on the commander, as he emitted a chilling aura and suggested to Airen that they should have a single move match and strike one another with full power. Airen quickly agreed, and to this, Sir Hill smirked, impressed at how Airen was not wavering one bit. Where is he drawing this composure from? The vice captain thought for a bit, but it didn't matter. Airen is one exceptional lad. Finally, our boy is getting the recognition he deserves. Just as suddenly, Sir Hill took a step forward and halfway shifted to his beast form while emitting an incredibly powerful ki, which many of the knights felt and shivered from. But despite him changing into his full form, Airen's ki is bright and solid as ever, just like steel, and what's more, it's continuously growing. Suddenly, Airen's ki now took the form of the old swordsman in his dreams, who was just about to deliver the vertical slash, so the commander decided to power up and try to level with Airen's. All the while, the knights are struggling with a heavy atmosphere, seeing how their captain is giving it his all for the fight when suddenly, another knight who just came to see the duel tripped and spilled his food in between Sir Hill and Airen. It was silent and awkward for a moment, and just like that, Sir Hill's ki dissipated, glancing at the fallen clown, knight, in front of him. Looking back at Airen, he decided to end the duel, saying that he's seen enough, despite the rest of the knight's shock reaction. Before walking away, Sir Hill announced that Irene Pereira is now allowed to act freely without his orders. With those kinds of skills, the commander said that it's best if he acted as such and added with a smile that our MC doesn't fall short of an expert rank. Attaboy Airen. After dismissing the lot, everyone settled in for the night and Airen lay thinking on his bed about the events of the day. For one, he kept thinking about how the feeling was similar to when he was dueling with the commander and fighting the large demonic creature. It was like a burning sensation was dominating Airen's body, like somehow he was no longer in control of his own body. It was the same as when he had the first dream with the old swordsman. With this thought, he fell asleep, and once again, the swordsman in his dream is there, practicing his vertical slash in the rain. All this time, Airen thought he had managed to escape from him, but wait, there's something different about this old man this time. This time, he's furious. The man in his dreams, he's changed. Back then, the old man has never revealed his emotions before, but why is he so angry? Before Airen could find out, it was already sunup, but still reeling from the dream, Airen remembered that whenever the dream changed, something in him also changed, but then again, he thought that maybe it has already taken place. As Airen stepped out of his tent, Ryan stepped out of his hiding place, asking Sir Jack if he managed to put the poison in Airen's bowl last night. The latter affirmed and even said that he watched Airen eat it all, which made them wonder why our hero is still doing fine. Because of this, Ryan told Jack to double the dose tonight, to which the older man warned that if he did so, then Airen won't just fall sick. But hearing Sir Jack somewhat take Airen's side pissed off Ryan even more, asking the older man that it's bad enough that he's stressed by Airen. But did House Garen's knight haven't had enough of his lord's beating last night? Before he walked away, Ryan reminded Sir Jack why he was in that position in the first place, and the older man could only follow his orders. Their band is soon to venture out as soon as they're finished eating, and just like last night, Airen's food is once again poisoned. Thankfully, the artifact worked its magic while Airen was left thinking if his enemies will keep poisoning his every meal. But hey, at least there's one person on Airen's side. Seeing that there's another note attached to his bowl, warning him that it's poisoned. Soon enough, their group went on their way again, and while walking, Sir Hill noticed that Airen's spirits are pretty down. But our hero assured his superior that he's alright before halting and looking to his left. Airen suddenly sensed demonic energy, even before his pendant started acting up. And just as quickly, our hero went Usain Bolt and zoomed toward the demonic creatures. Airen quickly conjured his sword and in one swing, sliced 3 of the monsters in half. The last one was much bigger than the others and had its fist up, directly smashing Airen, but our hero managed to block its attack using his sword. With the two locked in a stare down, Airen sliced it in half. But lo, behind him, a shadow quickly approaches, but thankfully, Sir Hill was watching his 6, telling our boy that he got his back. Man, that was a pretty cool entrance. Seeing Airen's skills, the other knights started paying compliments to our hero, and many of them are already talking about the possibility of wrapping up the expedition without any problem within reach. Well, what kind of main character is Airen if he can't take even small fries like these, right? Airen, on the other hand, felt to himself. His senses are becoming sharper. But does it have to do with the old man? Airen could only wonder. While Airen's receiving all the praises, Ryan is about to pop a nerve out of anger. Why the hell is Airen still doing well? Heck, he's even better than yesterday. To this, Sir Jack explained what he noticed on Airen's artifact, shining when there's demonic energy present and how it has a detoxifying effect. This infuriated Ryan further, smashing his fist on the tree trunk near him. While he's plotting how he can one-up Airen, Ryan thought the only way he could do that is if he kills the demon himself. As if. But sure, dream on, boy. Continuing with the expedition, it didn't take long for their group to reach a cave that looks as if it was artificially made, which they presumed was the demon's lair. Sir Hill instructed Airen that the two of them should lead the group, but just before they go in, Ryan stepped up, requesting to be in the front line as well. The commander didn't have any problem with this, so he allowed the Garen boy to do so, but at the same time keep his guard up as well. As soon as they entered the cave, many of the knights started hearing a violin playing, and many quickly fell victim to the trap. They were hallucinating. The knights thought they have entered an amazing place, feeling at ease, and had urged others to get closer to the sound. Airen noticed that some of the knights were acting funny and thought they must be hallucinating from the sound of music. Just as quickly, he told them that it was a trap, whereas Sir Hill shifted to his beast form and gave a loud shout. He reverted back to his human form and instructed his men to shake the others who hadn't come to their senses yet. As soon as they came to, the group finally came upon a tall, dark figure standing in front of the piano. Just then, a voice echoed, welcoming them as they kept their guards up. Sir Hill was already wary of how this demon is much stronger than he thought, and to make things even creepier, the figure sat in front of a piano and twisted its head around, revealing the face of a woman, asking them if they want to hear more of her music. Dang, she's hot and scary. The beautiful demon lady stood up, and as she did, skeleton musicians appeared right beside her. Sir Hill thought to himself that if it weren't for her red eyes, many might have taken her for a human instead. But this demon looks like it's trying to maintain its ego by keeping the form of a woman. As she should, she looks pretty hot. And if villains are bad, then why the hell do they look so good? Meanwhile, Ryan was already prepping himself mentally to kill the demon and surpass Airen. Back to the demon, she proposed to play a tune for her visitors, but Phil Garen started acting up, which made Sir Hill reprimand him and told him to remain in formation. Against their wishes, the Lust lookalike demon lady went along and started playing a tune that was much different from the first one. This one is sweet and lulls the knight into a deep sleep, embracing their tired bodies. The tune easily influenced the weaker members of the group, and yes, that includes Phil Garen, as they succumbed to the tune, but Sir Hill warned them once again to not fall prey to her tactics and not to look at her eyes, so they will not be hypnotized when suddenly someone zoomed past him and charged for the enemy. Ryan rushed forward, thinking that he must stand out and kill the demon. It has to be him and not Airen, so he has to kill her with one swing. Just your typical dumb and proud character running to his death, no biggie, seeing Ryan's action. The demon quickly extended her hair, attacking the dumb Garen boy, which he managed to fend off at first. He realized soon that her hair doesn't cut easily, and just as he was standing in defense, the demon quickly formed a hand figure using her hair and was about to grab Ryan's face. Lucky for him, Sir Jack stepped in to block the attack, urging the young lord to step back, but Ryan won't budge. And just as quickly, the demon wrapped her hair around the knight, then hoisted him up high in the air before coming face to face with Sir Jack. Just as she made her greetings to her captive, she assured the rest of the group that he won't kill him. Not yet anyway, saying that she's a pacifist. This enraged Sir Hill, and seeing his reaction, the demon proposed a deal: Sir Jack's life or the life of the self-proclaimed beautiful demon. Sir Hill and Viscount Garen were silent for a moment until the former instructed the other to not respond to her proposal. With this, he shouted at the demon, saying they will not negotiate with the likes of her, and upon hearing his reply, the demon started to choke Sir Jack. While she's doing this, she also mocked his effort of trying to save Ryan, who's now scared and frozen in place. Not satisfied with their response, she decided to change the term by hypnotizing Ryan, as Viscount Garen called for his son to return to their side. As Sir Hill warned the group to prepare for battle, the demon suddenly sprang her hair and snatched Ryan. Now, two of them hung in the air as the knights of Sir Hill started to charge. Seeing this, the Garen head commanded them to stop, but Sir Hill, furious at the old man's action, just told him to get out of the way. Now, where is Airen while all of this is happening? But back to the Viscount, he made a split-second decision and told his men to protect Ryan and block the knights' attacks. This infuriated Sir Hill all the more, but the Viscount only shouted in response that he needs to save Ryan. Then he quickly turned to the demon, asking if the deal is still on. The demon said, and even swore in the name of her master, Lord Lastro. As if it's bad enough that the Garen house intervened with the mission, the Viscount also roped in the house of Lester and Russell with his shenanigans, threatening them if they refused. In response, Sir Hill commanded the knights to take down any and everyone who will get in the way of the expedition, regardless of the status, which left the Viscount shouting his name in anger. While all of this unfolds, the demon was amused and snickered, once again mocking Sir Jack about how they reacted differently when Ryan's life was involved. Laughing heartily, the red-eyed demon was looking forward to the chaos that will ensue between the two forces when noticed the lone figure, standing apart from everyone else and emitting a golden aura, our boy Airen. Finally, some screen time, while everybody else was busy fighting among themselves. Airen remained focused and meditated with his eyes closed and sword in hand. The demon just deemed him boring when Airen opened his eyes, and before the demon could realize what happened, her upper and lower body split in half like the Red Sea as she was blown away from Airen's attack. The demon's body crashed on the piano while Sir Hill looked on at what had just happened. Airen is still focused on what's happening while the hot demon lady is on her knees, waiting for her body to regenerate. But it's taking real slow, making her wonder why, when a wound like that is not a big deal to begin with. Her torso was just about finished regenerating when Airen dashed straight toward her, and like every other villain who results in using cheap moves when cornered, she decided to use a hostage to stop Airen from attacking. Airen only braced himself to angle his attack, and this time, she managed to cut off the demon's left arm and the hair that held Sir Jack hostage. This kid doesn't care about the hostages at all and is focused on me, the demon thought. Airen sprinted back to her location to deliver another blow, but this time, the demon decided to block his attack, throwing Ryan away. The lady demon started to emit ki and used her hair to protect herself as our hero is about to slice her in half. Airen's blade hit the demon, who was now wrapped in her own hair like a cocoon, shielding herself from Airen. She thought she could heal while still being wrapped up, but then she noticed that she can't gather demonic energy at all. Is it because of Airen? But there's just no way, she thought to herself. Now standing above the cocoon demon, Airen did a vertical slash on the demon, but it still won't open up, so he decided to hit it again and again until the demon could start to see light seeping in from the cracks of her shield. Airen continues hitting the cocoon, and that's when it hit her. She can't beat this guy. And if she made one wrong move, she could really die. Airen continues hitting the demon, and with the last one exploding, a bright light dented the ground. As Sir Hill and the others looked on and waited for the dust to settle, a flurry of black sped away from the area, but Sir Hill, already in his beast form, was quick to intercept it and delivered another powerful blow. But lo, it's only her left leg, where's the other half of her body? The demon, now literally torn in half, crawled hurriedly away from the impact zone, but Airen's figure stood still, looming and terrorizing her. And just as she turned back, she was met with a powerful force that split the ground in half, once again cutting her vertically. But this time, there's no more regeneration. As her body cracks, she thought how this is all possible, and how humiliating that she's defeated by a mere human, before evaporating to dust. The crack on the ground was no joke, and pretty similar to what Airen did during the final evaluation of the Knights, still shaking from what happened. Roared in victory as the demon is defeated, Irene Pereira breathed a sigh of relief, seeing his son triumph once again while Sir Hill was only speechless, the echoes of the men chanting Airen's name only growing louder. Despite not being witty nor much of a presence, Airen sure knows how to appeal to the crowd. Sir Jack too was finally freed from the demon's clutches and looked in surprise as Airen stood firmly, oblivious to the voices chanting his name. Our boy really thought there won't be any hostages if she's dead. With the expedition finally done, everyone returned to the makeshift camp of the Twilight Knights Order at the Garen family estate. Some of the knights were busy talking about how they couldn't believe the expedition went well, without a hitch, even with a demon using psychic powers as their opponent. And it's all thanks to Airen. He's a lot different from what the rumors were saying about him. The Hale Kingdom finally has its own hero. Victory aside, there's that matter that needs to be addressed, which the knights assume will be handled by Sir Hill Burnett. It was something that shouldn't have happened in the first place. And by that, what they mean is Viscount Phil Garen acting out of line when they face the demon. In another place, the Viscount is in a closed-door meeting, explaining how he wasn't himself, which is why he acted that way, but Sir Hill was not falling for his excuse. But the thick-skinned Phil Garen said that he fell under the demon's hallucination and psychic control, and even if he loves Ryan very much, that doesn't mean he'll sacrifice the continent's peace by jeopardizing the expedition and prioritizing his son. The old fart even put on an Oscar-worthy performance, blaming the demon's wickedness, but Sir Hill wasn't falling for it. But because there's no evidence, he can't condemn the old fool. Meanwhile, Airen lays in bed once again and gets up, thinking how the swordsmanship he did back at the cave was not one for his family. It was solely for slaying demons. Is it because of the old man from his dreams again? Once again, Airen is plagued by this old man's identity and how he could rattle our hero like this, but just then, the announcement of an unlikely visitor pulled him out of his thoughts. It's Sir Jack Stewart. Airen was surprised, but Sir Jack only said that he has something he needs to tell our hero about the expedition. But first, he expressed his gratitude to Airen for saving him back then when no one else cared whether he lived or died. Not one of them. But in his mind, Airen thought that he didn't either. His body just moved as if on instinct to kill the demon. Airen was about to brush it off, but Sir Jack quickly launched into business and without batting an eyelash, revealed to Airen that he poisoned his food back then. Sir Jack, however, also explained in detail that it was upon the instruction of Ryan. Still, the Garen Knight knew that he shouldn't have done it despite his liege's instruction as a knight and human. He apologized profusely about our hero and said that he will accept any punishment given by Airen. But our MC was just quiet. Dang, Sir Jack really got more balls than all the Garen men combined. Finally, Airen spoke up that he had his suspicions, but knowing the truth is still pretty surprising for him, then asked Sir Jack to take his leave since he's not in the mood to talk anymore. Because he's pretty distressed, Airen insisted that the knight leave, but that he had no plans to let bygones be bygones, to which Sir Jack only answered that he will pay for his sins. With Sir Jack gone, Airen is left all alone once again. Or not. Suddenly, a voice can be heard telling Airen that nothing will happen no matter how much he racks his mind over it. Surprised by what he heard, Airen turned around to see Ruru. Finally, our resident cute mascot is back. With his ears drooped, Ruru asks Airen how he's been, but our hero just smiled, gently asking where the sorcerer cat has been all this time and that he was looking for it. Hearing this, Ruru felt unworthy, turning its back and went on rambling how if only it didn't force itself to teach Airen sorcery, then he would have had a different set of abilities, nor would he have been separated from his family for 5 years. Airen listened as the cat went on about how Curl would not have been sad, continuously blaming itself for what happened. But as Airen tried to reach out and pet Ruru, it scurried away from his touch while Airen tells the cat that all the bad things he heard about Ruru were just superstitions. Ruru clapped back that even superstitions hold power, explaining that as long as many people believe in it enough, then it'll become reality. What's more, even the weakest being can become the most incredible if many people believe in them enough. As Ruru continues to lecture Airen, who is now slowly tiptoeing towards the cat, that sorcery created through the wills of people can change the world's principles. Suddenly, Ruru conjured a portal and was about to cross it, while saying that our hero's life will only be miserable if he's linked to the cat sorcerer. So Ruru promises not to appear in Airen again when our hero managed to catch Ruru, just as it was about to pass through. While Ruru tries to move away from Airen and tells him that black cats are bad luck, our hero countered it with what he was saying earlier. Now, Airen will be by its side, and so our hero's belief in Ruru will be stronger than anyone else, proclaiming that the kitty will now be the symbol of good fortune. Eventually, Ruru gave up and sobbed in Airen's arms. Airen may not be witty, but this boy is just too pure and wholesome. We need more Airen in this world. A short while later, Airen fills in Ruru on his training while he was stuck in the sphere and how he managed to conjure his friends while training. The sorcerer cat was fascinated by what it heard, but Ruru just knew Airen has a potential for sorcery. Hearing this, our hero got curious how Ruru knew such a thing, and our mascot just said, "It's because Ruru has been by Airen's side ever since he came back to the real world." Ruru was what? Airen couldn't believe what he heard, but the cat only said that he disguised himself as the white cat and was the one who slipped Airen the notes about poison in his food. But more important than that, Ruru questioned Airen if something happened since our MC seemed to be a lot different when he was facing the demon. Again, Airen told Ruru about his dreams, and the cat assumed that maybe the old man has a strong hatred towards demons. No, maybe it's deeply rooted in hatred toward devils, which surprised Airen. Furthermore, Ruru said that maybe the old man is someone who lived about 150 years ago. Finally, we're a step closer to finding out who this old man is. Hearing what Ruru said, it surprised Airen to hear that the old man from his dreams could be someone from 150 years ago. But our resident kitty said that his identity doesn't matter, since what's more concerning is how his will could influence Airen's heart. But none of this matters now, since Ruru assured Airen that there are times when he would falter, so it's best to just put his sword down for a little while and pick it back up when he's ready. Easy peasy. Plus, Ruru also offered to help carry the load with him, bragging about how he built muscles in the last 5 years. Laughing at this, Airen is glad that at least he has Ruru with him, and how reassuring it is to be with someone he could trust. Speaking of trust, he's reminded of his friends from 5 years ago, whom he made a promise with. How are they doing now? But back to Sir Hill, the vice captain kept walking back and forth, angry at how the other houses are siding with the Garens. His unlawful act should not go unpunished. How dare he condone the Imperial Knights like this? However, Sir Hill has broken out of his reverie when one of the knights announced that he has a guest, and an unexpected one at that. Seeing who it is, Sir Hill was left speechless. Now, let's hop onto the Garen estate, and here we see the Viscount acting his usual bastardy self once again, losing his shiz over a simple matter like the servant serving him tea that's not to his liking. He continues to blow a fuse, and now he's thinking about what he needs to do next. He managed to escape the Imperial Knights hounding about the expedition, but then again, that was their last chance to make a political comeback. As if he couldn't be stressed enough, Sir Hill just came waltzing into his study and saw his distressed face. The Viscount was about to send him away, telling the vice captain that they've already resolved the matter. But Sir Hill only grinned and told the old fart that something disgraceful happened during the expedition. Someone from House Garen ordered to poison Irene Pereira. The Viscount, shocked at what he heard, went on yelling at Sir Hill how he's accusing him of something outrageous and without evidence. But to the contrary, Sir Hill questioned the other about what he'll do if he does have evidence. As soon as the Viscount saw the witness, he turned white as a sheet. It was none other than Sir Jack himself. Now, isn't the Viscount just the very definition of screw around and find out? Sir Hill continued that the House Garen's knight told them everything, and because he's been truthful, they will be considerate and give him appropriate punishment. And in typical cheap villain fashion, Phil Garen tried to turn the tables and shift the blame on Sir Jack. Hearing this, Sir Jack only said quietly how the old fart is dishonorable, even to the end. And because of this, Sir Hill told him that he will officially request an investigation concerning this event. If Sir Jack is found truthful, then it'd be best if the Viscount confesses to his sins now, especially if he doesn't want to lose everything he has achieved so far. Now that that matter is done, Sir Hill returned to camp and was about to set out to the Pereira estate, hellbent on making Airen a member of the Twilights Order. So he galloped on his course at full speed, only to find out that Airen already went to Krono Academy. Baron Pereira informed the vice captain that his son had several things to take care of, and that, technically, Airen's been an official trainee of the academy since 5 years ago. Disappointed that he was unable to recruit Airen, Sir Hill still put in a good word and told our hero's father that his son is a treasure to the kingdom. No, the whole continent. Meanwhile, Airen is now en route to Krono Academy and was talking to someone about Sir Ian, the head sword master of Krono. Our hero continued that he is one of the greatest swordsmen in the whole continent and led our MC to the right path. If it's him, Airen's sure at least he could give sound advice about Airen's situation, and to that, a pair of black ears popped out of Airen's cloak, telling him that maybe Sir Ian could also tell him about his dreams. Because regardless of the field, those who are considered the best out there are no different from sorcerers, Ruru explained. In addition to that, the sorcerer cat also said that it's because they possess incredible skills and wills that cannot be explained by logic, and so hearing that made Airen a little hopeful. And since Ruru is Airen's second sorcery teacher, our mascot decided to look the part. The sorcerer cat used its magic and donned a full Puss in Boots getup. This cat really took Kawaii way too seriously. Seeing how energetic and excited Ruru is about their trip, at least Airen thought that he wouldn't get bored on the way to Krono's Swordsmanship Academy. In no time at all, Airen and Ruru made it to Alcantara Metropolis, the city where Krono's Swordsmanship Academy is located. The place is bustling with people as usual, with Ruru admiring the different kinds of magic it saw in the streets. The duo decided to look for a place to stay for the night and decided on Birthplace of the Sword. Ruru hopped off Airen's shoulder, saying to look around first as our hero proceeded to the inn and was surprised at how vast it was inside, filled with swordsmen staring at him as he entered. Suddenly, a big man with a bald head approached Airen, asking if he was a visitor at Krono Academy, to which our hero said yes. Upon hearing that, a lot of the other swordsmen started to laugh. Seeing that anyone can just enter the premises now lately, but the bald man tried to intimidate Airen and warn him not to overestimate his abilities. Just then, the men started to bicker about the tryouts, pointing fingers and making threats, but thankfully, the bartender just called Airen over. As it turns out, pretty much everybody staying here is a visitor at Krono, and the inn is pretty famous for hosting their bunch. Hearing that, the bartender asked if this was Airen's first rodeo at the open visitor reception, and Airen could only huh in response, much to the bartender's disappointment. So here's a quick rundown of what's been happening in the city lately. Since Krono's Swordsmanship Academy is pretty much every swordsman's Disneyland, and because of this, a lot of swordsmen started visiting the academy. At first, the large numbers were just sent away, but there were those hardheads that refused to leave until they could fight someone, while there are also others who started calling Krono a den of cowards. Because of this, the academy launched the open visitor reception system, wherein once every 2 weeks, anyone who wants to talk with their swords can challenge anyone on a certain day chosen by the academy. Because of this, visitors need a warrior card to compete in the said event, so the bartender led Airen to the basement so they could test it out. As they reached the bottom, another man was there with a measuring device. So all Airen needs to do is to hit it with his best shot, and the square on the top section will give him a reading. And yep, Airen needs to hit it with his sword, though he initially thought he had to hit it with his fist. The old man told him that he could go ham since it's a magic tool and it won't break easily. Hearing this, Airen was delighted, happy that he could use his full force, while the two old men talked about him, the other even saying that he looks a bit delicate. With that in mind, they made a bet. The silver-haired man bet that Airen's score would be 300, but the bartender said that it would be 500. Because of that, the old geezer changed his bet to 501. The two of them grinning as they told Airen to pick a sword. So imagine the look on their faces when Airen turned down the sword and conjured his own dragon's lair out of thin air. Airen closed his eyes to focus and, in a snap, braced himself to do the vertical slash, slamming the measuring device with all his might and scaring the two men. Seeing that the measuring device was still intact, Airen was happy while the bartender asked how he conjured the sword. Well, it's simple, sorcery, answered Airen. And now for his score, our MC got a whopping 10,772 points. That's way out of the two men's bet. It's always so satisfying how Airen shocks other people with his strength and skills. With that, Airen was given a silver warrior card, and later that night, he told all about it to Ruru as they went to bed. Finally, tomorrow's the day. Airen can't help but feel excited at the thought of seeing his friend Judith after 5 whole years, and by the next day, he, along with many others, was directed to the place where the academy will conduct the event. Ruru was pretty excited too and asked if they could watch for a little bit, and who could say no to those big googly eyes? Since he has time anyway, Airen decided to watch for a little as well. As he sat down in the arena, he overheard the two swordsmen from beside him make snide remarks about a young brat who appears to not know the strength of the swordsman present today. Shifting his attention to what they're looking at, Airen is surprised to see a familiar face. It's Lance, one of his classmates. Seeing one of his former classmates again, Airen can't help but feel happy seeing Lance, and Ruru even said that he looks pretty strong as well. Looking at Lance now, he had a growth spurt and has a better physique than how he was years ago. Man sure leveled up from being one of Brett's cronies then. Lance now greets the rest of the swordsmen in the arena and introduced himself as Lance Patterson, one of the official trainees from the Academy's 27th cohort, and will serve as their opponent for today. Hearing this, many of the swordsmen started complaining about how the Academy sent in a trainee and not even a graduate to face them. If only these men knew they're about to be humbled real quick in a matter of moments. Lance was quick to admit that usually, graduates should be the ones facing them today, but Airen's former classmate said that he used his connections this time around because he wanted to fight people from outside. Since many are still reluctant to face him, Lance proposed that if any of the fighters are disappointed with him today, then he'll quickly call for his seniors to replace him. This doesn't sound like a bad deal, and just as quickly, a semi-bald-headed man stepped onto the stage and challenged Lance. That's when he noticed that the older guy wields a pretty large sword that reminded Lance of a certain someone in the crowd, which he doesn't know yet. As Lance raises his sword, he asked his opponent if the bigger man would like to have the first attack, which obviously infuriated him. So he quickly dashed and swung big to deliver a heavy blow on Lance. Too bad the guy's fighting with a trainee from the golden cohort, since Lance fended off his attack easily, and as the big guy looked on with shock. Lance was quick to disarm him using so much force that his opponent's sword came flying and struck the wall. Seeing that Lance's speed and power are on another level, many swordsmen tried and failed to beat Lance at the open visitor reception. He either brought them to their knees or left them weaponless. Because of this, it made a lot of them wonder, is this guy really a trainee? One of the swordsmen retorted that it's because he's part of the golden cohort. That's why he's so skilled, and they didn't call their batch like that for no reason. One of the spectators was already volunteering this man since he's the village hero, taking down 17 opponents all by himself, as Lance looked in their direction. Suddenly, Lance started to approach them with a man praying that the training won't seek him out, when all of a sudden, Lance stopped in front and greeted Airen. The two exchanged greetings, with Lance asking our MC what he's been up to. But Airen could only say that it's a long story, and it is, Lance, trust us. Thankfully, Airen's colleague didn't bother to ask for more details and told him that if he had come earlier, maybe he would have been able to meet Judith and Brett. Airen was surprised to know that Brett is at the Academy, and Lance quickly explained that Airen's blue-haired friend came back shortly after he left that day. However, Lance said that he accompanied Judith on a personal mission and left just a few days ago. Although he's happy that Brett returned to the Academy, he felt a little disappointed since he couldn't meet them, but our MC couldn't dwell on his feelings for too long since Lance told him to come down and have a match with him. This invigorated Airen, who quickly went down to the stage. With the two young men facing each other, the rest of the spectators can't help but speculate who Airen was, with some saying he looks familiar, while others thought that he's someone who failed to make it to the Academy. On the other hand, there's Ruru standing on its hind legs and cheering Airen with all its might. Seeing this, Lance asked if Ruru was Airen's pet, but our MC quickly told Lance that it was actually his teacher who taught him sorcery, and to prove a point, our boy conjured his sword out of thin air once again. Lance was shocked and at first thought that it was magic, but later corrected himself that it was sorcery, telling our hero that every time he sees him, he's always surprised by what he could do. In addition to that, Lance is pretty sure there are a lot more things Airen could do now. But Lance also said that he's not the only one who leveled up and got stronger. Holding his sword in front of him, Lance told Airen that he'll make him pay if he hadn't grown enough in the last few years. And with a running start, the two young men ran toward each other, their swords clashing loudly, but Lance was quick to shift his attack. Soon enough, he lets out a combination of swings that Airen blocks using his blade, which made many of the spectators think that Lance has the upper hand. But the more Lance fights Airen, the more he thinks about how this all feels familiar, and with each swing Airen does, his colleague is finally convinced of something. Following his hunch, Lance delivered a thrust that Airen managed to parry with a powerful squish of his sword. Taking a step back, Lance asks in between huffs how Airen managed to use Brett's technique. Lance is sure of what he saw. These are Brett's techniques, and just when he was about to ask more of it, Airen closed his eyes and got into position. Oh hell no, not this again. Lance already knew what was coming, so before Airen could deliver this technique, he sprinted in Airen's direction and started delivering one swing after another, not giving Airen a chance to pull such a scary attack. But Airen continues to parry his attack until our hero managed to break Lance's guard. To this, Lance quickly moved back to put some distance between them. And it's confirmed it really is Brett's technique. Lance was shocked at how Airen was able to learn his friend's technique, given that the last time he saw it was at the final evaluation 5 years ago. He can't have learned it just from seeing it once, can he? Well, Lance, Airen is actually a member of the Uchiha clan and used Sharingan to do it. But before he could wonder further, Airen snapped him back to reality and with a few leaps is suddenly up in the air and in front of Lance. Our hero swung his sword pretty hard, delivering quite an impact that even dented the ground Lance is stepping on. Then with the signature Lee by Ackerman spin, Airen used the momentum to deliver a much more powerful blow that's a signature move from Judith's technique. Because of his power, Airen pushed Lance back, creating a distance between them when the latter thought that he was pretty confident with his defensive skills. And with Judith and Brett not at the academy right now, Lance was sure he would win against anyone. But was he wrong? Is it not possible to win over Airen too? Spoiler alert. Nope, impossible. Lance suddenly lunged toward Airen and gave one powerful swing against our hero, but he didn't stop there. The spiky-haired trainee unleashed a continuous combination of swings and slashes that pushed Airen back. Seeing that Lance is pretty hard with the offensive, Airen did a vertical slash to break the other's momentum, but Lance was quick to evade the attack. He then jumped back and swung hard against Airen again, but of course, our hero's not giving in here. While fighting Airen, Lance admitted to himself that he can't beat our MC as he is right now since he knows the three of them work pretty hard to become stronger, but that doesn't matter to him because Lance won't back down without putting up a fight. Just then, Lance braced himself to send a powerful thrust to Airen, but our hero managed to duck to evade it, leaving Lance's guard open. And with one clean swing, Airen managed to disarm his colleague, Lance's sword flying high and landing on the far side of the stage. Still shaking, Lance just smiled and admitted his defeat. What a good sport this trainee is. The two trainees shook hands after the match, Airen calling it a good match while Lance could only ask him what the heck he's been doing for the last 5 years, seeing how he progressed this much. As Ruru listened to the other swordsmen talk about how they never thought Lance would lose, the cat suddenly felt a presence, so Ruru quickly jumped to the stage and told Airen that he's here. Airen asked who, but Ruru only pointed out to a figure near them, saying that it was his teacher. And true enough, head swordmaster Airen appeared on stage. The old man asked how Airen was, to which our hero answered with respect, but the headmaster was more surprised seeing a talking cat. But more important than that, Sir Airen asked Lance who won during their match, and the latter answered with downcast eyes that he lost to Airen. Hearing this, it seems that Airen wasn't slacking off after all, the headmaster said, but suddenly, our hero turned serious and started apologizing because he came back late. But before Airen could continue, Airen stopped him, saying that two swordsmen have met, so it's only natural that their blades must converse, right? Airen was shocked at the proposal, whereas Ruru only clapped with glee. With his sword already drawn and in position, Sir Airen even taunted Airen that he can't be that tired after fighting Lance, right? So finally, we're about to see Jamusai in action once again. The crowd suddenly came to life once again upon hearing that the head swordmaster of Krono's Swordsmanship Academy personally made an appearance. Who wouldn't be excited? After all, he's the best swordsman on the continent. With the two face-to-face, Airen told his teacher that he won't hold back, so he's the first to move and deliver a blow to the headmaster. Of course, he was able to block Airen's attack, and with one hand behind his back too. Airen then gave an upper swing, which was blocked once again, and just as quickly, Sir Airen broke through his guard. And like a good teacher, he already pointed out how our hero's attacks are too dull, then proceeded to provide an example, using the force of a collision to add more force and speed to his attacks. Just like that, Sir Airen roasted Airen's attacks and told his student that he's like an open book. Just like his earlier sample, he used the force from the collision and rushed straight to Airen, which left Airen in a defensive position. Sir Airen was quick to notice that it was Brett's technique that Airen was trying to do earlier and praised him since he was able to execute it pretty well, but the downside is that his flow is too interrupted. Airen barely managed to block the headmaster as he came from his side to deliver a sneak attack, and once again, Sir Airen noticed another flaw of Airen's. He was too slow to shift from offense to defense and punched our hero in the gut. Nani? Airen? On his knees, this is the first time in a long while. The headmaster lectured Airen that in real battle, there's no evaluation between offense and defense, but Airen won't give up. He dashed straight to Sir Airen and unleashed another familiar technique. Strong gusts of wind started forming, swirling fast and surrounding the opponent. It's the Lindsay family's trademark sword of the sky. Lance couldn't believe his eyes as his colleague managed to execute such a move. But as for the headmaster, he only commented that it's not too shabby and suddenly launched a quick attack on Airen that has so much power. Our boy got pushed far back. In addition to that, the old man also told Airen his previous attack was lacking, but it's a bit better than his previous ones. As Airen stood panting, the headmaster told him that there was one more thing our hero still hasn't shown him, and just as quickly, Airen got into position. He closed his eyes, clenched his sword in front of him, and started to meditate. Seeing this, the crowd was pretty confused since neither men were moving and both of them also had their eyes closed as well, but Lance already knew what was coming next. Airen's gonna do the vertical slash he did at the final evaluation. A moment later, Airen opened his eyes and quickly delivered a vertical slash, but only gusts of wind can be felt. On the other hand, Sir Ian was standing still, focusing his energy when just as quickly, he fended Airen's attack as the ground started to crack, and this time, the damage is far more significant. Seeing this, it makes you wonder if they ever charge Airen for the damages he did to their buildings. But lo and behold, the majority of the damage was done by the headmaster, who is now seen doing the technique only doable by him, the aura sword technique. Sir Ian, with his sword still glowing, revealed to Airen that he never planned on using his aura sword and praised Airen for being able to find his own blade. With a forlorn look, Airen answered it as the headmaster said, but before he could complete his sentence, the old man knew that our hero's heart is wavering, and that's something he wants to consult the old man with. Airen was shocked to hear when Sir Ian turned to the audience, telling them that they'll be wrapping up today's open visitors reception, ushering everyone to go home. Putting on his cloak, the headmaster told Airen to follow him since they already conversed with their swords, so this time, they should converse for real. Back at Sir Ian's office, Airen sat as Ruru introduced itself as our hero's sorcery teacher. Happy to see a talking cat, Sir Ian replied with equal gusto and asked if he should use honorifics when addressing Ruru, but the cat sorcerer rejected the idea, since they're all teachers, and that they should be friendly with each other. Since they're doing introductions, Kara Finn introduced herself before Sir Ian could, with the headmaster adding that she's Krono Swordsmanship Academy's head swordsman. After all, it's the first time she and Airen have met. Right after, Sir Ian asked our hero what happened in the last 5 years and what he was feeling troubled with, to which Airen began narrating everything. Hearing all this, Sir Ian pointed out that the dream seems to have a significant effect on Airen. Speaking bluntly, Sir Ian said he cannot provide Airen with the answer he was looking for, but he could give a word of advice. Leave Krono Swordsmanship Academy. It surprised Airen to hear this, but the headmaster continued to explain that he was welcome to stay and train. On the off chance that Airen couldn't suppress the swordsman's will when he comes in contact with demonic forces, then he should just avoid getting into situations like this. That was a no-brainer advice, but hey, at least Sir Ian is doing his part as a teacher. As for his last advice, the headmaster also cautioned Airen if avoiding such scenarios will really be the solution to address the man's will towards demonic forces, and added that there are many paths a swordsman could take. That being said, trying to avoid the will of the old swordsman may not just be the only way to address this problem. What's more, Sir Ian pointed out that it's a small world, and if he had a change in environment, then it follows that his view will change as well. And once it does, there's a chance that it could lead to a change of heart, and maybe, just maybe, Airen might discover something that could even harden his already mighty sword. Or, there's also the possibility that he'll wield a different kind of sword in the future. The possibilities are endless, and Sir Ian sure knows how to give one heck of advice, as expected of this old man. But before Airen could decide on which path to take, he needs to journey and see the world, urging our hero to go and find out the identity of the man who's been influencing him since the start. Airen was pretty quiet upon hearing all this, but Sir Ian told him that the decision he needs to make is not an easy one, so he should think about this carefully. But Airen already decided he'll leave Krono Swordsmanship Academy, which earned him a surprised look from Sir Ian and Ruru. Airen admitted to himself that he has constantly avoided things and was always running away from things he was afraid of or didn't want to do. But not anymore. So where will Airen go next? And what kind of adventure awaits our hero as he takes on a brand new adventure?